All apprentices and delivery staff must wear PPE at all times in an official workshop. Note that these practical examples are filmed in a teaching environment.
Okay, so having completed the continuity of the bonding conductors, we can now move on to our actual circuits. Continuity tests are first on those, and if you look at the test sheets, what you can see is the test sheet is set out in the correct sequence for the tests. First test being continuity, then you see the next one to be insulation resistance. Then we can prove polarity and then move on to the live tests. So starting with continuity, you can see that the test paperwork looks at ring final circuit continuity as the first three columns on there. And then the next two columns are for continuity of radial circuits. And you can see you've got a choice. So the first choice would be R1 and R2, or the second choice is an R2 only. So R1 and R2 is method 1, R2 only is method 2. The choice is yours, but really it's a no-brainer. You're going to be doing method 1 for all of your circuits, which is an R1 and R2 test. Obviously the bonding was tested as an R2 only because there is no R1 that we can use for that test. There's no line conductor. So we're going to do continuity of CPCs, and we're going to start now with the radial circuit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an R1 and R2 test on our lighting circuit, not forgetting of course that we've got the extra complexity of our two-way and intermediate switching arrangement, and that needs to be considered for the test to be thorough, complete and valid. Okay, so with continuity testing then, the first thing we need to do is prepare the circuit ready for the test. So for this test, you need to join together the R1 and R2 connector cables at the distribution board. Then we go out and do our test. Technically, you're meant to do it at every point of the circuit. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to do it at the light fitting, but you should test it at every point. So yeah, first thing to do then is to link R1 and R2 at the board. So let's get that done. So we're looking at this circuit here for the lighting circuit. And let's get my R1 conductor and my R2 conductor. And I need to link them together at the board. So to do this, you simply just place them in a connector. But there's other ways you can do this. Some people would take a flying earth lead from the earth bar and connect it into the circuit breaker. Some people take the line out and connect it into the earth bar. In this case, that won't reach. And it doesn't really matter how you achieve the linking of them together, so long as you do. Now that said, the preferred way of doing it is doing it this way, where you disconnect both conductors and you place them into a connector. Make sure it's in there firmly. There we go. Okay, no. Okay, make sure it's in there firmly. Okay, so there we go. Now they're linked together there at the board. Okay, now that's the preferred method. But what it does, as before when we spoke about the parallel earths, giving us a better reading, by doing it this way, linking it out, we also take the parallel earths out of circuit, which gives us a true worst case scenario, which as a test engineer, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so they're joined together there at the distribution board. The next step now would be for me to test at the light fitting. In this case, this light fitting is the furthest point of the installation. Okay, so I'm going to test between the two conductors that I've just joined together, which is R1 and R2. Before I do that, in good practice, we need to make sure that our meter is still zeroed. So setting the meter to continuity and place the leads together again. And we can see that we're still reading 0 ohms on there, so there's no need for me to re-zero the leads. We can just take that as it is. I'm just going to place the meter on here so I can see what I'm looking at there. Okay, so now I just need to test between the line conductor and the earth conductor, and at the moment you can see there's no reading there. That doesn't mean that the circuit's broken. What it means is it's just switched off. So I can call my friendly apprentice in to switch that off for me, switch that on for me. And we can see there now we've got a reading of 0.18 ohms. But that's just using one strapper of the two-way and intermediate system. Okay, so what we need to do is bring the other strappers into circuit. We want to get a worst case between all of the three switches, so they've got to be switched in the correct manner. So now that we've got the switch in the on position, and I'm reading of 0.19 now. If I could ask you, there you go, 0.18. If I could ask you to turn that switch off there for me. Okay, then could you come to this middle switch for me and switch that back on? So again, another reading of 0.18. Now if I can ask you to come down to this one by me here and switch it off. Okay, then go back to the first one and turn that back on for me. Okay, and again a value of 0.18 ohms. We come to the middle one and switch it off. Thank you. And finally back on here for me. And again 0.18. So that's given me 4 results which just happen to be the same at 0.18 ohms. Quite often you'll get 4 different results, and from those results then you would need to record the highest value as the worst case.
Okay, firstly check with the Scheduler Circuit Details page 3 on the test certification to see which particular circuit is associated to which circuit number. This is useful because the scheduler test results only shows you the circuit number. So let's start with the details that we know. The dB reference here is the training wall at Oxford, dB1. And we also know that this installation does not have an SPD fitted. We'll also know the serial number for our multifunction tester, which means we don't need to complete the forms for all the other individual types of testers. We're currently doing continuity tests on our radial circuits. This gives us an option of doing an R1 and R2 test or completing an R2 only test. Well, this is a simple choice really because R1 and R2 is just far more efficient. It's no need for wander leads and it can also prove dead polarity. Well, I've just completed testing my lighting circuit, which is for L2. So the first thing for me to do is to put a backslash in my R2 only box and then record my result value in the R1 and R2 box.
Okay, so that's the continuity of the CPC conductors to the end of the circuit there for this lighting circuit on there. It's good practice now to leave that in the on position ready for the next test. But of course, this being a two-way and intermediate, for the next test that still needs to be switched. But for ordinary one-way, you could just leave that on now, ready for the next test.